What up, what up, what up, world? It's your boy Jaystar back again with the full strategy show for the week 15 slate, man. Um, so I want to go over in this video, man, some of the best stacks for this week. I think I'm gonna get right into it, so that way we can kind of get through some of these games. I don't have to, spend too much time on some of the games because I kind of already went through some of the stacks. So let's get through it. So the first best stack of this week, man, is definitely Herbert. Stacking with Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Joshua Palmer, Everett Eckler. However you want to mix that up, man. It's one of the best stacks for this week for sure. Definitely feel like you want to have some Herbert in your lineups. Besides that, we got next up. It looks like it's gonna be Davis Mills. Um, oh my God, so hard to say to take him because we do know he's got him benched. With $5,000, he's just in a great spot, man. The defense he went against last week was a lot tougher, So, and we know Kansas City, yeah, they're going to probably blow them out for sure. It's just that they will be able to get garbage type of fantasy points still, and garbage fantasy points is still fantasy points, and it could be good enough to possibly win if Davis Mills somehow pulls off throwing 3 touchdowns in this game. Plus, let's see who he has playing with him so we can see who we can stack this week with him. Going past this too fast. Let's see. Here we go. Who's playing this week? So no Nico Collins. Looks like Brandon Cooks is out. Okay, perfect. So you got Chris Moore again. You got Amari Rogers. You got Dorsett. Very cheap options, man. Very, very cheap options to go with him. Also, even at running back, where is he at? Only like 4,600. I would even say Burkhead is a stack because Burkhead only comes in to catch, and they're going to be down. They're going to be using the passing back, man. So that's what I'm saying. Davis Mills could actually hit, man. So just you don't have to even take him if you don't want to just completely stack with him. But his players also can hit and give you some good value, so that way you can play the Herbert stacks and some of these other stacks we have on this list. So the next stack we have on the list is Dak, and Dak is going to cost you some money though. Here, same kind of just 1,000 cheaper than what I want to say than Herbert, but we have Pollard, to kind of go with him since he does throw to Pollard for touchdowns too as well. CD Lamb is going to be in play there. You got Gallup, of course, and as well as maybe Noah Brown has another good game the way he did last game. But also at 3,200 down here, if you want to take that gamble shot, T.Y. Hilton is down here too as well. So he should be playing too, but probably not going to play as much. But like I said, if you want to take the shot there, you can. I would rather have probably a Gallup or CD Lamb in this game. Being that we've seen, Jacksonville give us some big fantasy points and to receivers, especially good ones like a CD Lamb and stuff like that. Also, I would say, also throwing Schultz too in that stack, but it definitely, like I said, Dak stacks is going to be one of the top stacks too as well. Then we have, let's see who we got next here. Mac Jones, oh my God. Mac Jones is on the list, y'all, for the stacks. Let's see, how much does he cost? Is he 5,200 or 5,000? Let me just see, or is he? I know he's not more than that. I thought he was 5,000 on a dot or something. Yeah, 5,000 down here. We know, man, it's gonna be hard to take him, even though the yards and the completion percent is very high and it bodes well for him. And I think, let's see, is his running back even gonna play? Because if Stevenson is out, man, Harris is only usually in just the actual run. Like, he doesn't do the pass catching part. So he might actually be throwing more. Plus, the Raiders are probably going to be completely healthy, possibly. Might be getting back, Waller as well as Renfro in this game. So might cause him to really have to kind of shoot out with Carr or something like that. I know the completion percent is a lot lower. It's a tougher matchup for Carr side, but they do have an elite offense over there. So if they do possibly put up 21 points, it's going to cause, for a Mac Jones to actually air it out a little bit more, maybe take some deep shots down the field. So that could be a way, him and some of his receivers. Let me see, who does he have this week? Because I think Myers is he still questionable? Or did he get Myers back this week? Let's see, where is Myers at? Thought he was cheaper than, I didn't think he was this expensive. Let's see, where is he at? Let's go to this game. Okay, so 4,700. Wow, yeah, he's super cheap. But man, did he not clear? Okay, so we got to see if he's going to clear, because Myers is a big, if Myers plays, I definitely feel like he can have a really good game against the Raiders. Okay, so then next up, looks like the last full stack I would say this week would be an Andy Dalton stack. You have Olave, Jarvis Landry. Also, I would say, like I said, man, I really got a good feeling that Kamara is going to play really good this week, y'all. I know he's had like pitiful, what, 5 straight weeks. So since the 42-8 game, like hasn't had hit since that game. Like you would have thought, oh, they found something after that game, and go to him the 10 times you threw to him, every game at least, or at least 7 times like every game and see what he can do. But for some reason, I just got this weird feeling that Atlanta, they do give up rushing touchdowns. I feel like Kamara is in play, man, this week. If the rushing touchdowns in this game don't go to Taysom Hill, Kamara can have that huge game that we know we've seen him have multiple years where he has that one game every year, it seems like, where he has about 4 to 5 touchdowns and changes the whole slate. So I don't know why, but I feel like this could be that week. So just want to say that there's, like I said, Andy Dalton stacks. You want to do a Chris Olave, Kamara with him or something like that. Jarvis Landry. If the Johnson kid plays for the tight end, he could be in play too as well. If you don't even want to run, Kamara at all, you just want to run Andy Dalton with the, receiving options, go ahead and try that. But like I said, I do feel like Kamara is a good spot, man. And then the best, like I want to say, like one-offs to maybe you want to put the quarterback, maybe not. But Burrow and Chase, I definitely feel like, Chase, every time Chase kind of does good, like that, Burrow is probably in play. The fact I say that is because, all the receiving options besides Burrow is kind of not healthy. You got a hamstring injury here, with T. Higgins. You got a finger injury with Boyd, so I just feel like, it's going to be a lot of, passes going to Chase, man. Just a lot of passes. Like, we just coming off of 15 targets. And I want to say, what is it? I believe the Bucks give up touchdowns, like passing touchdowns. And you telling me like 2 receivers kind of really banged up and their best passing touchdown receiver, like one of the players that get the most, touchdown passes too is Chase. So just feel like that bodes well for him to have a huge game. Maybe possibly not needing Burrow with him or just taking Chase in your lineup. If you have the money to spend, I feel like he's a good option up there. As well as if he is able to play, Moore is in a good spot. I don't really see me, running Darnold with him, but I definitely think Moore could possibly hit for us this weekend if he's able to play and, can be healthy for that game. As well as we have Devontae Adams at the top right there, as we always know. I haven't really seen us needing a $9,000 receiver yet for any slate. That hasn't happened, but it is possible if somehow I would say, the weapons aren't back for the Raiders. It's just going to put a lot of targeting to Devontae Adams then. But if some of those weapons are back with Renfro and Waller, it could just help them out. The offense could just be even more explosive, and Devontae Adams could just have more opportunities to score, really. So either way, I still feel like he's a good spot for him. Then we have Hopkins here, being that we already saw 11 targets with him, just didn't score, but like I tell y'all every time with these, high volume targeted receivers or, just high volume targeted any weapon, period, is if they hit on a touchdown early and it's within 2 targets already and they hit on a touchdown, that they still have 9 to 10 more targets left. So that's how they hit big for people. So you got to take shots at those players, like that, like a Hopkins, like a Chase, Devontae Adams and things like that, because they hit early, they can explode. And then the cheapest one-offs, like for me this week, I would say is Drake London, man. Feel like he's in a great spot with Ritter coming in to play quarterback instead of Mariota. Maybe we see 12 targets for the rest of the season consistently, like we thought we was going to see for him. But Mariota was at the helm, so it kind of changed everything because we know he runs a lot. But Ritter tends to throw more, so we probably see 12 to 15 targets in this game, man, possibly. He doesn't really have other weapons here other than Patterson. So I can see some dumps to Patterson, but I definitely see a lot of shots taken to Drake London in this game. So, and a number 1 receiver for 4,700, I definitely think that could hit. So now let's get into this full slate. So we got Atlanta, like I already said. I kind of went through these, this game already with the Drake London, Jarvis Landry, Chris Olave, Kamara, like I said, Patterson. I don't really want to take a shot at the rookie quarterback. I feel like he might have a hard time for his side of things, but that doesn't mean that Drake London is not going to have a good game if he's getting crazy targets in a game that they might be even down big in because they're starting a rookie. So Then we're gonna move on to the next game here. Got Pittsburgh and Carolina. Like I said, DJ Moore. I feel like this will be a hard game for Pittsburgh just because Carolina's defense is very strong. And actually, it's crazy how Carolina. I thought they was gonna tank as soon as they let go of everybody, but they're not tanking. It seems like they actually have a chance to win the division because of how bad Brady has been playing. So their defense, I feel like, is going to play hard. I don't really see much coming out of Pittsburgh's side. I really feel like if anything was good to happen, it would be DJ Moore if he is able to go and everything. But besides that, there's nothing else I like in this game for high fantasy. Then we have this Philly game right here. Get back up here. So we got the Philly-Chicago game. Man, a battle of rushing quarterbacks. It's going to be a crazy game here, man. I don't really know what to expect. Other than I do know Chicago is bad against the run, but that could bode well for Hurts. It could bode well for Sanders. I definitely think Sanders has a good chance to actually do, some high fantasy points here. I picked him last week. I knew he was going to have a good game last week, but, like huge game here. A lot of people didn't even have him. But I feel like he can also go again back to back because Chicago is really bad against the rush. If, Jalen Hurts, actually hands it off to Sanders, doesn't take it himself. And besides that, Chicago's kind of good against the pass. But once you establish the run, it's going to open up stuff like for A.J. Brown as well as for Devontae Smith. So, compared to the other side, it's like, Fields doesn't really pass and doesn't really have good weapons either. And it's a hard matchup for him. So I can still see in Hurts hitting. I don't really know. I would say if you have to stack him with receivers, if you just run him with Sanders maybe, because the rush is where it's really at. But Hurts has been hitting like every week, as y'all seen, like 30 fantasy plus points and stuff for the last 3 weeks, man. So maybe running him naked could be a spot, the way to take it because he's just hitting every week, man, for one of the most fantasy points at quarterback position. So then we get into this Houston game. Let's go over here. This Houston-Kansas City game, man. Like I said, Davis Mills is in a great spot. I know y'all all know this, just that it is Davis Mills. Wish they had just a decent quarterback, man. Like, I really do, because this would be just such a great spot to stack up. Like, the receivers are so cheap. We know somebody's probably going to score at least because Kansas City definitely gives up, I want to say, passing touchdowns. They're last in the league at giving up passing touchdown percent. So it's crazy. And then yards, they're up there, as well as completion percent. So it could really be, Davis Mills day, man. Like I said, like could be a stack there. And what's so great about it, I think, is that if you was to run a Davis Mills stack, you would have the money to run back any basically weapon for Kansas City as a run back, in that position. It's pretty tight. So, you can take that cheap stack, take freaking, it's probably your only way of getting Kelsey, basically. That's what I'm saying. I'm sure there's other value, plays that you can just take from this game and load up with other, quarterback stacks and things like that. But it's going to be it makes it hard still to get Kelsey at 7,800 for sure. But if you run the Davis Mills stack, it's easy to just run back Kelsey if you want to. And you probably hit on something like that because the reason why Kansas City's probably blowing out Houston this weekend would probably be because of Kelsey, So then we have, let's see. So next up here, and it's if you want to run the Pat Mahomes and Kelsey stack and run some of those value plays on Houston at receiver, I don't mind you taking that too as well. If you just want to be able to get, Pat Mahomes, at least this is a week where we can actually get Pat Mahomes stacks, with those run backs, so definitely because of the value at Houston, Then we have Dallas versus Jacksonville here. I already kind of went over this, that Dak was a great stack, so you want to stack him up with the plays there. Run backs, we already saw last week. Chris Moore did good in the slot. So I think, seeing that, from the Houston game, we can definitely say Christian Kirk could be in play. Zay Jones is probably going to have a pretty rough matchup going against Diggs. But if he was to line up on the other side, he would have a chance, since the other cornerback isn't as good as Diggs. But Kirk was probably be in the best position, as well as Evan Ingram, if I was to say, as pass catching weapons to actually run back in this game. If he was taking a Dak stack, that would be my my plays. Then let's see, we got Detroit and the Jets. This was supposed to be such a good game with the Mike White stacks, man. Like, it really sucks, man. I really am pissed off about that because Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, to Conklin, all was getting such great volume of of work. Now we're in this iffy stage. Like, we don't know if Zach Wilson's really going to come through. But it's the same thing, kind of thinking about the Davis Mills stacks. Like, man, it really sucks. Like, if that the quarterback play is really bad there because, definitely the other side. We know Golf has been playing very well, but the Jets defense is really tough. Completion percent is very low. I would think somebody like a St. Brown would have to come through big. But I do like Jamison Williams because I know he probably won't match up all the time with Sauce Gardner. Maybe it'll be more DJ Chark, Josh Reynolds. But Jamison Williams should start getting an uptick of more snap counts. We saw him hit last week, on just one, basically one reception, man. He only was out there probably like 20 snaps, double the amount of snaps he was out there for the first game. But maybe, he gets in there maybe about 40% of the snaps, maybe 50%, maybe he gets somewhere near there. If he does, feel like he probably could do pretty well because if he doesn't line up with Sauce Gardner, it's probably going to be the best option going against a weaker cornerback, there. But if you was to run like a Zach Wilson stack, running it back with a St. Brown, running it back with a Jamison Williams, I don't mind. Like I said, Chark might have the harder time if he is going lined up against Sauce Gardner most of the game. But besides that, like I said, St. Brown will probably have the easiest matchup being that he will be in the slot. So then let's see what we got here. Also, I think the running back on the Jets too. Let me say, what is his name? Like Z Knight or something like that. Yeah, so Z Knight, yeah. Also, I feel like he's in play too as well for against Detroit there. So then we have Arizona and Denver. Man, this is just like an ugly game, man. It sucks though because, like I said, if Russell was playing, this would be a good spot for Russell. I know he hit and won people big money last week, so in a good spot though for Ripon. But man, it's Ripon. And it was a great spot for Sutton too. I mean, yeah, not Sutton, but Judy as well. But it's just now quarterback play makes it really iffy. Dolchich was in a good spot, going against the number one team in fantasy points to tight end. I still believe he can still hit 3,600, man. Even with a backup quarterback, I definitely feel like tight end probably doesn't get affected as much as like a receiver with timing and things like that because you can kind of dump it off to your tight end. If they do get to the goal line at all, I feel like they probably end up going to Dolchich and probably hits that way if he just catches the ball for a touchdown or something like that. But besides that, Hopkins on the other side, I believe Marquise Brown is kind of banged up or something like that. Yeah, it's still questionable for Marquise Brown there. So like I said, Hopkins probably the best play there on the other side. I don't really see much else from that game that I would like. Let's see. So let's keep it going here. We got New England and the Vegas Raiders. Let's see. We got Devontae Adams. You already know. Renfro, if he's back for 3,800, I don't mind taking a shot there, man. We know New England's whole goal will be to try to slow down Devontae Adams. And so if they're doing that all game, for 3,800, Renfro, it's not a bad play. If Waller is even back, I don't even mind taking shots at Waller too as well because I do know New England does give up points there to fantasy points to tight end. So definitely don't mind taking a shot there. But like we said, we already know Devontae is the best play. And like I said, if we was running it back, if Myers is able to go, I do like Myers. Let me see. I didn't even realize, go check to see if Devontae Parker is going to be okay or he's out. Okay, so he's out. So we got Aguilar then for 3,400. Like I said, completion percent is really high, man, like against the Raiders. So completing passes to these receivers isn't going to be hard. So you might be able to hit on an Aguilar for 3,400 in this game, But like I said, if Myers is able to go, I will love Myers. I wish Ramondre Stevenson didn't get hurt at all. Because this was supposed to be a huge game for him. Pass catching backs, the Raiders are, I think, almost number one in the league at giving up fantasy points to those type of backs. So kind of sucks that if it is going to be Damian Harris because we haven't really seen them use him as the pass catching back. So I don't really know who they would use besides him when it comes to pass catching. Let's see. So then after that, we got Chargers versus Tennessee. Like I said, one of the best stacks, man. I told you, loaded up with Herbert, however which way you want to do with these receiving options, man. Every play is really a good play here. Run back options here, though, definitely Henry is in huge play. If they can stay competitive in this game, the reason why Henry didn't hit completely for everybody last week was just because the game got out of play here, almost a 14-point lead, basically, or is a 14-point lead. And once they do, once that happens, they stop. Like 17, got real lucky that he even hit at 17 attempts because most of the time, Henry needs the 20-something attempts and then he hits for you and explodes. But if they can just somehow stay in this game against the Chargers, then they will continue to run the ball because that's what the tight ends do. You know, they don't really throw too much. But let's see, is Treylon Burks back for this game or not? Oh, he's still out. So that kind of sucks because if they do get behind, the best play to me is, let me see, I don't even think, Westbrook-Ikini had 8 targets, so he could be in play. Man, they did passing the ball a lot, but I rather would take a Kongwu down here at 3,100, man. I definitely feel like he can have a good game. They gave him like the most amount of targets after they said they was going to implement more plays for him in the offensive scheme. So I definitely feel like he's could hit again as well for 3,100 there. As a run back, maybe with a Henry or something like that. If you want to even toss both of them in there, it's pretty cheap anyways to take both of them since the Kongwu is only 3,100. But yeah, definitely if you're doing the Herbert stacks, man, running back Henry, Kongwu, or even like I said, Westbrook-Ikini, I don't really mind because definitely feel like that's going to be a huge game right there. And definitely one of the best stacks of the whole weekend. And then right here with the Cincinnati Tampa Bay game, man, oh my God, I don't really think there's anything I kind of want from Tampa Bay. This is a hard matchup for them against, Cincinnati's defense is one of the top defenses in completion percent. And actually, it's a tougher defense than, when I say in completion percent at least, than the 49ers. So we do know the 49ers line and stuff like that is way, tougher. But it's just the fact that completion percent, throwing the ball, they don't give up yards. They don't give up really touchdowns in the pass either. It's just going to be really tough for Brady since he already has a hard time scoring here, period, this season. So I don't really see much there. And just to think that, like, on the other side, it is some type of yards they are giving up there, at least for receivers. But, man, his receivers just haven't been hitting. It's really going to be hard to take any Brady's receivers here. But besides that, like I said, on the other side here, I think Chase is in for a big game. National probably spot unless it's the Tennessee game, but they are the late 2 games, and I can definitely see Chase hitting huge, especially if the Tampa Bay safeties are still going to be out. Man, they're going to have a rough time then stopping Chase, man, getting down that field. So that's it for, this week, man. Let's see, what do I want to put together here for a final lineup after going through all that. Like I said, best stack is going to be Herbert. So we probably just gonna go ahead and keep it simple like that. Take a Herbert stack here. Let's see who we want to take. I'm gonna probably do something like, let's go with Keenan Allen, but with like Joshua Palmer or something like that. So let's do a double stack like that. And I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm gonna probably take a Kongwu for a run back here. And let me see. So at running back, like I said, I'm gonna take my Kamara because I just got a gut feeling Kamara hits. So I like Sanders this week in a great spot. It's just all on if like both of these running backs are in play for big games. I feel like if I want to say like Taysom Hill doesn't take up Kamara's rushing attempts to get into the goal line because like I said, Atlanta does give up rushing touchdowns. So if Taysom Hill doesn't take those, if Hurts doesn't take them from Sanders and he actually hands off the ball a few extra times to Sanders, I definitely feel like he can hit. So let's see. We could get a value play or we can take at defense this week. I really kind of like the Panthers this week, y'all. So I'm gonna roll with the Panthers defense here. I think I'm gonna take a value play from that Houston game and probably roll with Chris Moore here at 6,500. Having Chris Olave, already have enough with the Chargers game, so I wouldn't run another receiver from there. I like Garrett Wilson. I might take that, or I might run with the Chris Olave. I don't really know for sure because also I like the fact if I do take Garrett Wilson, I could also go ahead and take the Saints defense going against the rookie. So possibly could hit on something like that. So I might roll with something like those 2 lineups, man. Like I said, hopefully, man, this hits for all of us, man, so we all win some big money this weekend, man. Good luck, y'all. Thank you for staying tuned. If you made it through the video this long, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. It's your boy Jaystar, and I'm out. Good luck, y'all.